PRX, Precise Robust 10. That's possibly the hottest Tissot release of 2021 and is therefore well deserved to have a review of this piece. Under the C-Star collection in 1978, this piece is called the C-Star Quartz. It has since been divided as Tissot wants the C-Star collection to be a diverse collection. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not very sure. Please don't bash me. Either way, after viewing into Tissot's old catalog, the C-Star Quartz appeared and hence the reissue under the name PRX. Fast forward to 2021, we finally got a successor to the C-Star Quartz. And this time round, it's available in 40 and 35mm respectively. Why 35? Well, the OG pre-PRX is 35mm. The PRX is also available in mechanical, specifically the Powermatic 80 based on the ETA caliber 2824-2 but modified from a 28,800 bph to a 21,600 bph sweep to help aid the PRX's impressive 80-hour power reserve. We'll come back to the Powermatic 8 later, as there seems to be some controversy around it. So what about the Quartz? The Quartz uses the ETA F06.115 and that's the version I have and I'll be mainly reviewing. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the case. So this is a 70s inspired watch, and literally almost every 70s watch looked like this. And to be fair, I think I enjoy the look of the watch. Wait, is that a Rolex Oyster Quartz? Yeah, that's my first reaction when I first saw the PRX. I'm not saying that it's a copy of that. If that's a copy of an Oyster Quartz, which, by the way, there is a mechanical Rolex that came with this case shape, known as the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Date Reference 1530, which, by the way, how many by the ways I want to say? I recently watched a video on the most obscure Rolex watches in existence. I'll link it down if you're interested in Rolex's funky, colorful history on their watches. In short, I just think this case shape is the definition of the 70s and the era of quartz crisis, and obviously Geragenta inspired designs are all the rage back then. As I need to say again, I love this case shape. The bezel does look amazing as well, and covering the dial is a sapphire crystal, which can get away scratch free with most things thrown at it. Condition though, you are money laundering and you work with diamonds? In that case, I'd highly believe you pick up a measly PRX. You're most likely wearing a Audemars Piguet royal look. A wristwatch isn't complete with a bracelet or a strap, and that's where this integrated look of a bracelet comes in. The bracelet feels phenomenal. It's very flexible compared to the cheap Seiko that I have. Again, this is a price difference of 180 SGD vs 530 SGD. And yeah, I mentioned the bracelet is reflective, like, oh my, you can blind your eyes with it. And the butterfly clasp. I prefer the standard folded clasp over this, due to the practicality of one compared to this one, which is the butterfly clasp on the Tissot. But trust me, this feels very highly engineered, and the finishing on the clasp is very beautifully finished as well. Plus, they did also engrave Tissot on one end on the clasp and 1853 on the other end, which is Tissot's founding year. Now, in my opinion, the clasp is underrated when it comes to finishing and attention to detail. Normally, bracelets or clasps are cheaply made to keep costs down. But this is Tissot. This is Swiss made. The word Swiss made though don't mean as much. It's a story for another day. I'm probably gonna link down my explanation somewhere. Either way, in simple English, I expected the clasp to be of this quality because Swiss made. And let's all remember, you can quickly swap the bracelet or strap since there are quick releases built into the strap or bracelet and plenty of aftermarket support. By the way, the snap with that bracelet 让我香烟硬邦邦. Finishing. Now that we're here, the watch to me feels premium. it is built with 360 stainless steel that is mostly brushed really well. And then there's the case chamfer, which is polished, and that adds an element of elegance to this watch. There's also the sign T on the crown, and where the T resides, it rests with a frosted background on the crown. Overall, the watch is finished really well with sharp angles. Very angular, very 70s, that's exactly what I love about this watch. And my mic drop, ice blue. Okay, cosmetics aside, here's what's under the hood. Now, as I need to say for the nth time, this version that I have is the Quartz variant, meaning a ETA F06 415 movements. This is a 3-hand movement that features a date complication, has a minimum battery life of at least 5.67 years to the maximum of 7.83 years depending on the type of battery you have. Note that the thicker batteries will obviously correspond to better battery life, but a thick boy battery may not fit in some cases. When the watch no longer have enough power though, it will let you know gently by ticking one time per 4 seconds. And when you open up the snap-on case bag to replace the battery, it does usually take in a 371 button cell. It does also have shock protection known as heavy drive by ETA, and it also does have a quick start date function as well, a standard across modern watches. Okay, now remember how I said I'll talk about the Powermatic AT movement? Yeah, let's start. So here's the background. It's based on the ETA caliber 2824/2 but modified. On paper, the only modification made is the extended power reserve at 80 hours. But as a result, it has a lowered frequency from 28,800 bph to 21,600 bph. It is also said to have a longer mainspring. But really, is that all? Okay, here's the catch you've been waiting for. When you learn about mechanical movement, the part that comes to your mind is most likely the escapement works. Now, most watches, like my entry-level Seiko SMKD 99K1 Seiko 5, has an escapement made from metal. But in the Powermatic PRX case, we have variants of the Powermatic 80, the Powermatic 80.111 or the Powermatic 80.811 that is COSC certified. Now, if you look at the PRX's specifications on the mechanical movement, it uses the Powermatic 80.111 movement, and that's where there's the issue with it. So it features plastic escapement parts. So, okay, before I talk about the bad, there's some good to this. Unlike the metal used, plastic is a non-magnetic material, and as a result, it is a more durable choice when it comes to magnetism in general, which is kind of a watch's enemy. But is it really durable? Here's the bad. Plastic parts like the Swatch Movement System 51 is usually seen as a disposable. Now, as someone who owns a mechanical watch, yeah, I have to agree with the bad. Now, I see mechanicals as your companion. Not just your companion though, by the way, but to your future generation as well. A mechanical can accompany you to your lifetime and then still have more than enough life to accompany your child. To prove my point further, have you seen China Last Emperor's watch, Puyi's? The reference 96 Quantum Lunar Patek Philippe sold for 6.2 million in Hong Kong in 2023. And that's my point. The dial's gone tropical, but it still runs. Back to the points, the main points at that. There's so many things I love about the PRX, like the finishing, just the heritage itself that it actually kind of brings in. But there are things that I don't really like. For example, the sapphire crystal is protruding out of the bezel. Surely it does not collect scratches because sapphire crystal, but note that sapphire crystals are known to be more brittle in return. So if it ever eats concrete, there is a chance that the sapphire will just design itself, and that design warrants a whole ass crystal replacement. Well, in short, you crack the damn thing. I would wish to have the crystal flush to the bezel, or maybe have the bezel that creates the rim of protection to the crystal, so that when it's concrete, it's not just the crystal that meets the concrete, it is the bezel that eats it before the crystal. Still on crystals. I've heard the Quartz models don't feature AR coating. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. So the watch does reflect more light in general, making it harder to read. Personally, I don't really care too much about it, but if you really care about it, just take note. Next, the bracelet, while comfortable to wear on and very stunning to look at, the reflectiveness actually invites the scratches to look more visible. Now, after having mine for 2 weeks and 1 day exact, I have noticed scratches on the bracelet. In my own philosophy, I think a watch is more interesting with its scratches, and I don't really mind that, to be honest with you. Next, second hands. If you're a Palmatic owner, get lost. This is our problem now. On my particular model, it does mostly hit every marker with good accuracy. But I do see some Quartz PRX models out there with misaligned second hands when it hits the markers, or perfect alignment. Well, your solution? Buy the Palmatic 80 version, and then you can just get out of here. Problem solved. Okay, this is such a first world issue and such a first world solution. I'm too poor for this solution as well. Please subscribe. Okay, finally the loom. So this is Luminova, right? And compared to Seiko's Luma Bright, it falls extremely short. While the blue loom screams ice cold like the Dow, it does not last as long as my far cheaper Seiko 5's loom. And it isn't as bright as well. Now, here's my question for you. Will you take a brighter loom over a cooler looking one though? Hey, up to you. Now, I do like the look of the loom on the PRX because it is blue and cool blue. Like the Dow, ice cold blue. Fine, I'll leave. I'm so sorry. But usability wise, I would pick Seiko's Luma Bright, hands down. Now, these things that I mentioned are nitpicks in my opinion, but some of you may think it's a deal breaker, or some of you may not mind it at all. So here's my overall thoughts on the Tissot PRX Quartz in 35mm. So it really is a good watch. I really enjoy the finishing of the case and dial and bracelet, even if it's a scratch magnet. Now the watch is finished sharply, which does ensure the whole bootlicking that I got for the watch is indeed justified. I love bootlicking. Now, one question though, is it just me, or is it really that the ice blue Palmatic 80 version look different than the ice blue Quartz version? Like the shade of blue is like different? Now, in short, I only bought this watch not only because of its discount that helped me get this watch by the end of this year, which is exactly what I hoped for the start of this year. It's also the history it has with the predecessor, the C-Star Quartz, that is also in quartz, that drew my attention to this watch, and love and appreciate the watch even more. Now sure, it ain't got the romance of the mechanical watch, but it sure is a part of a history that I have, a part of a history that Tissot is willing to share and introduce to the younger watch nerds. Okay, I wrote this 14-page worth of script not just for fun. It's like my way to share the fun of owning a reissue of a watch that exists, and the story that I'm more than happy to share. Now, personally, I feel that this channel should be built on a story. It should be built with the foundations of storytelling. Happy New Year! This has been a review of the Tissot T137.210.00.11.354. Oh, whatever. I don't know. Happy New Year. Okay, I finally remember the reference number for my Tissot PRX. It's the T137.210.11.351.00.